All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews. We're back with more of our review of Game of Thrones Season 7, leading up to Season 8 this Sunday. We are on Episode 3. It is called The Queen's Justice. So full spoilers if you have not seen this episode. But really quickly, I just want to mention the thing that I've been going through on YouTube with the not being able to do live streams because I'm under 1,000 subscribers. I want to take this time really quickly to say, like if I was at 1,000 subscribers right now, we'd be able to do live streams of Game of Thrones after shows. I really wanted to get to The Expanse Season 4. I wanted to do live streams of all those episodes. I know they're on Amazon and it's going to be different, but I can't even do any of that. And I think that would be really cool for the Game of Thrones and Expanse communities and other communities of shows that I like to watch and would love to start doing live streams for, but I can't because I'm not at 1,000 subscribers. And so if you are a friend of the channel, share my videos, mention my channel to people. I don't like doing this, but I feel like YouTube has impeded me from being able to do the things that I'm pretty sure my audience wants. And even though I'm small and my audience isn't that big, but you guys are all mighty, as Joss Whedon I think put it for Firefly. That they may be many, but we are mighty, or something like that. And I want to be able to do as much as I can for this channel and keep getting better. And I can't do that if YouTube is going to stymie me. And I'm asking for support from the people who have subscribed. And like I said, the only thing I can really ask is that if you guys share or recommend my channel to other people so that we can get to where we need to be, so that the channel can keep growing. Because the only other thing that can help me is if I get a laptop. And that's at least a couple of months away. And so if you like what's on the channel and you subscribe and you hit the bell for all notifications and all that stuff, we can get to 1,000 quick if everybody helps out. And if this is too much to ask, that's fine. This is just something that I'm trying to get done for the good of the channel and for getting things better slowly but surely. But if not, that's cool. Anyway, well, we're here to talk about The Queen's Justice, another flippin' fantastic episode of Game of Thrones. And so let's get into this. All right, so first off, last time I said I was going to have Season 2 and Season 3 best of favorites. When I think of Season 3, look, the best thing is the Red Wedding. It's the best thing. Even though it's horrific, it's horrific for everyone. It's traumatizing. When I was rewatching Game of Thrones recently, a few months back, I couldn't get... Once we got to the Reigns of Castamere, I couldn't watch it. And I stopped watching I stopped watching this I was planning on watching the whole series, and I got to that episode and I just couldn't do it. And I haven't gone back to it. This is jumping to Season 7 is the last thing that I've done. And I still, whenever I think about rewatching the series, I dread watching the Red Wedding episode. But I know that it's the best. It's the best thing because it is just so insane. And so just oh my God. And how they pulled it off and everything is just fantastic. My favorite thing is Season 3, though. When we say best and favorites, I mean, my favorites are, the simpler things. In Season 2, the one thing that I wanted to say about Season 2, one of my absolute favorite things in Season 2 was Tyrion putting his plan together to who he could trust, and how he told Varys a story, and he told Littlefinger a story, and he told the one guard the story, the King's Guard guy or whatever, and then he told the Maester or whatever, his Pycelle, and he just played all of them and told them all different stories, and I just love how he played that out. And then getting the guy exiled and him freaking out, "You're just an imp," and everything. That is one of the biggest highlights of Season 2. And Season 3, going to need to think about that one a little bit more. Because like I said, the best thing I think is still the Red Wedding. But and season 3 has so many incredible scenes. But again, I'll have to think on that one as well. I don't know. But anyway, to get to this for real, Jon meeting Daenerys for the first time, it is awkward as all hell, but in the best possible way. It's just, you know, it was kind of like Robert Baratheon coming back to Winterfell and seeing Ned for the first time, Tyrion and Jon's meeting. I mean, they don't laugh and hug each other like his dad and Robert did, but it is feeling like, you know, all this time and craziness between them. It's good to see them like acknowledging that one doesn't hate the other, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But Missandei, on the other hand, I love this shot. They have this like bigger wide shot, and she just keeps looking at Tyrion like down at him, like really kind of like, what are you? And then they hard cut away to her face, and her whole face is like a different expression. So it's like, I don't know. It was a weird kind of, it's one of those moments where if you've watched an episode enough times, you start to notice all the little things. And I just noticed that her face and facial expression did not match the next shot. And I don't know why I'm bringing it up. It's just weird. But the whole thing with Daenerys and reading off her long ass title I just felt like overkill. But I love how the next thing is this is Jon Snow, King of the North, whatever, you know. And this whole scene, this back and forth, this kind of, I feel like Daenerys is playing a chess game and Jon Snow's playing checkers. Like, she's being very, you know, thinking way about everything, and he's just kind of like, no, I just need to jump this guy over here. I love this because he's putting it simply. You know, the common man is telling you, we're all about to die from a big ass, we don't have this word of zombies, we call them White Walkers, and they're coming to kill all of us. And I mean, Davos especially too in this scene just comes, you know, and just comes right at Daenerys. Like, look, man, this dude fucking took a knife in the heart for his people, and we're all gonna die, and it's not gonna matter who sits on the Iron Throne. I love the bluntness of the Northmen and you know, like with Davos, characters like Davos, who are not going to change how they act and talk in front of a queen. They just, too much shit's going down. They're the kind of guys, like, you know, when if they get like soldiers that come back from war, and you might get like 2 or 3 of them like, I'm glad I did my duty, and you'll get that one that's just like, fuck man, I see too much. That's the Northmen, and they're coming down here with like all this like, you know, post-traumatic stress disorder and trying to explain why they need help to these people that, you know, Daenerys has seen her own, you know, kinds of crazy shit, and everybody, you know, is trying to like do their own thing. But, you know, I understand both sides here, but, you know, with how everything just keeps immediately, you know, falling apart on Daenerys' side, which is a good thing, I think, for the story, because, and a good thing for the audience, is to temper our expectations of what's going to happen, because, you know, we all just kind of assumed, I think, that when Daenerys came over here, she was just going to kick ass, take names, you know, and that's not what gets to happen here. She gets here and things don't go right, even though things should. I like that, you know, you can make all the planning in the world, but as soon as you start to activate that plan, you know, anything can happen. Your plan can go right out the window, and pretty much that's in fashion what has been happening right and left already. We're only 3 episodes in, and I mean, the first part of their fleet is gone. And, you know, and we might as well talk about it. I mean, you know, Grey Worm goes and takes Casterly Rock, and I mean, even the first time watching this, I was like, this ain't right. Like, there's not enough people in this place. And then boom, you know, you see Euron now destroyed the rest of their ships. So they're basically without a navy, and Grey Worm is trapped in Casterly Rock, which means he's going to have to walk all the way back. And so already Cersei and Euron and Jaime have figured out a way to outthink Tyrion, which Tyrion didn't think was possible, you know? And then, they send their troops to Highgarden, which we'll talk about at the end of this. So they've already done that. So, I mean, Jaime even says, I learned from my mistakes. Like Robb Stark did this to me, and now I figured out how to use it for my own, advantage. But you also have, now Dorne's out of the picture because they got Illyria. And then you got, the Greyjoys are out of the picture. Theon may have been picked up by a boat, but Illyria, Liara, is now a prisoner of Euron, which, I feel like the only reason to keep her around is so that Euron can torture her or Theon can have a hero moment or something. It's the only thing I could think of. Speaking of Euron, when he comes back with everybody, just the way he just is openly antagonizing Jaime is like Jaime's not a good person either, and neither is Euron, but it's kind of hard to root for Euron. Like you really want Jaime to just cut this guy down. Like in the end, Jaime pushed Bronn out a fucking window, okay? Let's not forget that. Okay? And he is still at his sister's side, okay? Let's not forget these things. All the heroics and all the good deeds in the world don't change the fact that he's with his sister and he pushed a kid out a window to hide his incest with his sister. So when Euron is taking jabs at him about his relationship, his incestual relationship with his sister, even though you want to punch Euron in the face, you also have to remember what they're doing and it's all just shit. It's all just terrible, terrible shit. And it's like there's really no one to root for. Not really. I mean, just that one part of us, though, when we hear somebody talk shit, we want Euron to get punched in the face. Even though everything he's saying is pretty true and accurate and, and shameless pretty much. The next scene, though, with Cersei and Ellaria and her daughter, talk about intense and talk about just not being in fear. Like, I couldn't remember what happened here until, right before it happened. I was like, oh, okay. But, I mean, I thought, man, Cersei's going to straight up stab her in the head or she's going to have the mountain crack their fucking heads. But just that whole scene is just so scary. And the deludedness of Cersei, who says at first, I understand. I know why you did what you did, blah, blah, blah. But then when she talks about Myrcella, she's like, why'd you take her away from me? Why did you do that? It's like, you already explained it to me, bitch. I can't tell you what you just told me because I got a gag in my fucking mouth. So Cersei is just, I'm telling you, man, there is something bad is going to happen. She's got one, I'm talking about for this next bit of episodes, the last 6 episodes, there's going to be one more moment. She's going to do something so bad. Like she's going to be, I just know it. I know that there's one more really bad thing coming from Cersei and we are going to be so flippin' bananas pissed off that there is no death unless she has to be slowly burned alive from tips to I don't know, but something else is coming. But instead, she poisons the Sand Daughter the same way that her daughter was poisoned, except Ellaria is going to be forced to watch her die and rot, and they want to keep her healthy and alive through the whole thing. It's just fucking nuts. We also get Jorah gets a clean bill of health, and that's pretty much it. It's a really cool, nice scene between these two guys, knowing, now that they both know where they're headed and all that. I like, it's just a small thing, but I love it. Sansa back at Winterfell talking to Littlefinger, who, why do they even write scenes with these two together when she so clearly doesn't want anything to do with him? But anyway, that doesn't matter because he gives her that speech. I love this speech. It's the last probably good thing that they let Littlefinger do. which also compounds my feelings on the stupidity of his end in this show and what they did with him since the beginning of this season. Is this speech he gives about, always fight everything in your mind, see everything, which is why I like him, why he's my favorite character, my best, like why I think he's the best character out of everyone. Is because, and it's a bias, so this will be a biased best, but I mean it. I stand strong on why Littlefinger is the best character on here, because he's smarter than everyone else. And I know that you could say, well, his smarts brought him down, but it's just, no, they wouldn't have. It just, unless you just want to say that random X, sometimes you can't even see them coming, and that's because he sees everything coming, and he didn't see this coming, that it's supposed to be some sort of whatever. But anyway, that's for a future episode. But his thing about fighting in the mind, I get that. I do that. Not in the way he does it, but about like political intrigue or anything. But the way I think a lot of the same way, and I think that's why mainly he's one of my favorite characters, because I fight everything I do. I kind of tend to pick apart. I have been told by many people that I think way too much, and I feel the need to pick apart things until I have completely figured out every possible solution. And I always say to people, if you plan for everything, if you see all the ins and outs of something, that's the way when something bad happens, you're not surprised. And I guess that some people would say that's cynical, but I mean, I look for all the good and the bads. But anyway, that speech that he gives about that way of thinking is one of my favorite things of this season. It's one of the best delivered lines, and I just love how much that it just kills me that they didn't let him be smart all the way to the end. And Sansa and what's his name, Bran. Again, it's just they didn't have enough scenes together in the beginning. Season 1 is the last time they saw each other. And so even though I'm supposed to feel something between their reunion here, I don't really feel much of anything. And it's not because he's, turned into the three-eyed raven. I just feel like they never had a connection anyway, and it felt forced. If anything, they should have had Bran not come back until Arya was already there. I think that would have been different. I think somehow even though that they weren't always that connected either, I think being the youngest siblings would have at least given them something more to touch on. Instead, she just stands there listening to him talk about how he can't explain what he is. And then she just leaves because, let's face it, still, Sansa is not the brightest bulb in the bunch. She may have learned a lot of political and Game of Thrones-y type maneuverings, but just being a person, I still think she's just kind of lacking. I'm sorry. I just don't. I don't like her. Honestly, I don't. I don't want her to be the last person standing on this show. Oh my God, I don't want that. But anyway, more of Jon and Daenerys. I mean, she finally, after talking to Tyrion, relents and lets Jon take the dragon glass. And, they're sowing the seeds here for, the shipping that will, going on, and the fact that we all know he's a Targaryen and, nobody else knows, which is kind of silly, but, I don't know how I feel about the whole Jon Snow being a secret Targaryen, but I guess it makes sense. It's just, man, did they take a long time to get there. Just like everything on this show. I mean, like the whole thing with Jon, Eddard telling Jon, I'm going to talk to you about your mother, and it's like fucking 6 years later, they finally reveal to us that Jon Snow's a secret Targaryen. The characters still don't know, but we do. So it's just kind of like, oh, wait, doesn't that mean they're related? Oh, no. And I think, that's pretty, then we get this, okay? We'll finish on this. So they go to Highgarden. Jaime has taken the real army to Highgarden to take Olenna Tyrell and take her down. And they just show the army marching up and her looking out the window, and they just cut to Jaime walking in on her, sitting there calmly, and her just she's just a side character, but she's stronger than a lot of the main characters. And they let her go out like a badass bitch. Does she bring it on home for a dead woman? I love it so much. I mean, seriously, they gave her like such a great freaking way to go out. And you still don't see her die. You know. So they gave her the dignity of not, having a violent death or anything. And she makes him fucking storm out. He doesn't even have nothing left because she drops the mic on him so fucking hard. And I like Jamie as a character, but was that sweet. And what am I talking about? Well, you already know what I'm talking about, but we're going to say it anyway. Once she, gets done with her niceties, and I mean, her niceties aren't that nice, talking all sorts of shit. But, saying about, Cersei is, yeah, she beat me because I lacked imagination, and I just didn't think that she'd go there. Like, I could never have thought of something like that. And then when she finds out that the poison works fast and doesn't hurt, and that Jamie made sure of it, which you could say he'd be lying about, but Jamie has changed. And I think that he really did want this to work out. And I don't think he had any idea that he was going to have somebody just, like, I don't like this term. I don't like this term at all. But Jamie Lannister got served, man. So she just goes, oh yeah, I killed your kid. He was a cunt and I killed him. I mean, those aren't all her words. I'm paraphrasing, of course, for my own dramatic effect. But, just telling him that, watching your son die like that. Oh, well, I had no idea it was going to be like that when I did it. She was an Avenger. A spy Avenger in the 60s, but still an Avenger. And she just lays it down. And Jamie has nothing to say. She knows she's going to die. Oh, and tell Cersei, I want her to know it was me. I never saw the poison work. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant. So anyway, with that, we're going to end this review because you got to drop the mic there and I don't want it to go off the rails. So if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get to 1,000. Yeah. So we'll be back with episode 4 tomorrow. And hopefully I'll be able to come up with more of my favorite moments and best moments by tomorrow. So this is Robin Smirking Gun Reviews saying thanks for watching these. Again, thanks for all the support. Thanks for all the continued support, and we will see you on the next video.